My name's Kelly Purcell. I'm the producer for this particular production. It's The Man with the Worried Eyes, a story about an elderly man named Frank who embarks on a journey to fulfil his wife's dying wish, but in order to do so he must overcome his own psychological and physical conditions.
And how are you finding being producer?
Tough. It's hard. A lot of work, a lot of organisation, and you've got to spend a lot of time considering everybody else, their schedules, but it's very rewarding in the end. We're using a few of the members of the theatre here who work here to be a part of our production. It's lovely.
I'm Jordan Heathcote. I'm the director of The Man with the Worried Eyes. The process is going pretty smoothly at the moment, I'd say. We had a lot of progress, especially from Kelly's side. She's got a lot of stuff she's been doing, and now it's tailoring towards me and the cinematographer in sounds, and we're working on the visual stuff for the film and how it's going to look in the end. We did the piece just before this called Plenty of Time, which is a memoir of our main characters, like a moment in the past between him and his wife. I directed that, and we all had the same roles for that we're having now. And I've done a few things before that as well. We've worked with Kelly a few times actually. I'm doing directing and cinematography, as I mainly want to focus on like the visual stuff towards films.
What do you think you've learnt most about the directing process?
I think working with actors is one of the biggest things I've learned. I've always had like a like for like visual type stuff and how everything's going to look, and hope it looks like really nice and beautiful, so we always aim to achieve that. But recently I've been working with actors a lot more and trying to get like better performance out of them, what they need to work better within their project.
I'm Rahul Jayakrishnan, and I'm the cinematographer on this project along with Yasmin. So basically my job is to make sure everything looks good on screen and make sure that the director gets what he wants, the actors look nice, the location looks nice and everything. Me and Yasmin share roles, so we both take in turns to be behind the camera, set up lights and do all the set designing as well. Like Jordan said, that we worked on the project before this together, but through uni I've been doing camera, so this is my third year now working behind the camera. The last project and this one is like my next step kind of thing, so yeah, I'm taking it as seriously as I can to make sure it's as lovely as it could be.
I'm Yawen Wang, and I'm along with Rahul. I'm also the camera, and this is the first time abroad production. This is my first year in Britain, and so we are both doing the light designing and just everything visual, the makeup and the setup, the background, the color, and everything you see is we are doing the visual stuff.
When you see the film, does it look very different to what you imagined?
Yeah, it's pretty close. We already know what we are looking for, and we already did tons of production work. So we have like draw sketches about what kind of shots we're looking for. So it's pretty close to what we have in our mind.
I think most of us don't realise the work involved in preparation for a film, do we?
Tons of.
I'm Phil. I'm the character Frank in this film, who suffers with dementia, and the film sort of catalogues his, after losing his wife, the slow deterioration of physically and psychologically of the character. So it's quite an emotive type of film. The one that was mentioned earlier, the Plenty of Time, was the prequel to this, if you like. That got a good response, and it's basically from this, any monies that we make from this, because we are trying to fund it, are going to go to the Sheffield Alzheimer's Society as well. So we're all hoping we can get a lot of people on board with that.
Excellent. And you said you feel quite emotional. Do you find it easy to leave it behind when you get home after filming?
Yeah, each time I see it, it's sort of, you feel the same emotions again. But whilst you're doing it, you get involved. There's a lot going on, as you've just said there. There's a lot of things that you have to think about while you're doing it. So you don't tend to be that emotional about it at the time. But then when you see it all put together, with where they edited it, I thought they did a great job on that first film, putting all the bits together, because I've only done one film before, so I'm not fully au fait with all the detail that goes into it. It's really interesting to see what they've done, and then having been there during all the shots, to then see the finished product that they've taken and put all these little bits together that were done at various times. I'm interested. It really intrigues me to see it.
What have you enjoyed most about being involved in both of the films?
Well, I have an interest in the subject matter as well, obviously, because I'm not that young myself now. But it seemed all the individuals all have a different job to do, and the cooperation between them and how they work together and being involved with that, and it's encouraging to see, and it's good to see, these sort of starting out on their life's experiences, if you like. I mean, when they finish university, and trying to put this into the real world, so that, if I can help a little bit along the way, then great. I really enjoy that.
Now are we going to be able to see the finished film?
Yes, well, it's actually going to be released on the 5th of May. That's our official date. We believe that it's going to be shown in the showroom cinema, but the dates for that are yet to be confirmed. But it will also be available online on YouTube, and those links to that will be released on our Facebook page, and that's just Facebook, The Man with the Worried Eyes. And on there is all the information from our previous production, Plenty of Time, including all the prep that's been happening for this, the actual release of the film, and information about our funding account, which is part of GoFundMe. And that link's on there too. So yeah, it's all going to be available for everybody, and we hope that as many people as possible get to see it.
As director, why would you recommend people watch this film?
I think the concept of it and the idea of it being someone with dementia trying to battle his physical and mental instabilities, I'd say, you really get involved with it as a person, and people obviously experience that in real life, so they're going to be seeing it and feeling exactly what the person on screen is feeling. And from the last one, I think the last one, everyone worked really well, and it turned out really like what we wanted to achieve. It looked beautiful, and it got very good responses from people watching it in university and our tutors and stuff like that, and online plus. So I think this one's just going to get even better. We know we've explored everything that we wanted to achieve in the last one, and we're going to propel this one to better heights, I hope.
I was the original writer for The Man with the Worried Eyes. Jordan wrote the script for Plenty of Time, so the concept came from me from this story. I have worked in care previously, working with the elderly and disabled, and a lot of those people that I looked after were in their own homes, and we were trying to maintain their own independence, and a lot of those people suffered from dementia. So it was really kind of interesting to see from their perspective their world. And although I think today there is a lot more awareness about dementia, I think it's easy to forget what it must feel like for that individual, because although they might not be consciously aware of who people are or what they're doing, they can still feel loneliness, they can still feel detachment and confused and all those sorts of emotions. And so that's what this film is all about, trying to portray. A lot of films and a lot of awareness is also about support for the family members and the friends of those people who suffer from dementia. But I think this film is kind of our way of just reminding people that these individuals who suffer, they have their own emotions, their own issues that they have to face. And so that's what this film is about mostly. I noticed whilst I was working in care, it's surprising how many people are alone. Their family members are not really around, and I can understand that it's probably very hard for them to see their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents or whatever, and have them not being able to remember them or hold a proper conversation. It can be quite upsetting because we are consciously aware. However, those individuals that are suffering, they aren't consciously aware. So it's easy for people to detach, but then people forget. You can move away for your benefit, but that individual still has to be alone, and they still have to feel that detachment from their side too. So that's where this film comes from.
What would you say you've learnt from the film?
First of all, there's two things. One is like our technical side, and one is like the character and the storyline, the subject matter that you learn from. This is the first time I'm doing a subject like this, that where we're dealing with older characters, older people, and it's different than like, say, people who are in university or, like middle-aged people who are working and stuff like that. So the subject matter is sensitive. There's a different way you approach a subject matter like this. For example, as cinematographers, we have to be careful that we don't portray the subject or the characters in a way that is not the way intended. So we have to be really careful, and that can be tricky. In terms of the technical side, working with older actors, that's the first for us. We've always had university students working with us and got help from like the Dramatic Society and all of that stuff, So working with like proper experienced actors is something new and different for me. It's a really nice experience that we're working with people who know what to do. It's easier to kind of work with them, So that's a plus.
This is my first time in student productions working with experienced actor and actress, and it's very pleasant different, and this is the Plenty of Time is my first production abroad, so things are very different from here between China. So I've already done 3 years in the film course in China.
The individual themselves also, you've got to consider that they have still all the same emotions, but as they've always had, with the loss of the ability to recognise people and their surroundings and everything, it's really a great struggle for them. Even though you're in a crowd, you are very individual, isolated. It's good that Kelly's producing it has got this experience behind it that will help